Hi, welcome back to Know Thyself. Today I just kind of wanted to do a tag that's been going around. It's a VR to Simon over at the Hermit's Cave. It's the All About Tarot tag. Yeah, I thought because there's been quite a few going around, but I don't have access to my full collection, I can't do those tags yet. So I thought this one was a great one to kind of tell you a little bit more about myself, my own tarot journey. It's got some really good prompts, so I highly encourage you to go watch the original Simon's video. And yeah, so the first prompt is your first deck and how you encountered it. So I have my first deck here. It's incomplete because it's in it's in various stages of trimming, and an awful trimming job at that. This was my first ever attempt at a trim job. And I did it with scissors. Funnily enough, it's somehow better than some of the trim jobs I've done with a guillotine, but I quickly realised that the borders on, the classic weightsmith aren't actually even, so I was getting really, really uneven edges. I feel kind of bad for trimming it now. I really wish I didn't. Yeah, because this deck does have sentimental value for me. So it is this Rosy Cross back edition. It's in Spanish. And so yeah, I'll just flip through the ones that aren't trimmed because just nice to look at. But yeah, this was my first, just a classic weightsmith. It was kind of, the way I encountered it was kind of, I don't know, kismet, I guess, because I'd been looking into tarot for a couple of years before I bought my very first tarot deck, and I'd actually gone to the bookstore for something else, and I'd been using an app and I hadn't really been studying it seriously. I've just kind of been really skimming the surface of what tarot was, and I was just focusing on the weightsmith at the time as well. So, I was still a newbie, and I went to a bookstore to get something else, and I saw some tarot decks actually behind the counter, and I asked about them, and I just kind of decided on the spot that I was actually given a choice when I asked for a classic tarot deck. I didn't really know what I meant. I guess I meant this, but I was offered a choice between this, so the weightsmith, and the Thoth, and I went with this, but I'm kind of wondering now how different my tarot journey would have been if I picked the Thoth instead as a starting deck. That would have been really interesting. So yeah, it's just a standard weightsmith. I think this is one of the better colorings and line work, in my opinion, except the titles are, of course, in Spanish, and they're not the original handwritten titles by Pixie. So yeah, it was just kind of kismet, I guess. I wasn't really looking to buy it at that point, and I just had an urge to, and I did. I went for it, and I never looked back. So once I got my first deck, my tarot study began in earnest. And yeah, that's it. So the second prompt is your last deck and how your tastes have changed since your first. Funnily enough, speaking of the Thoth, speaking of the devil, speaking of the Thoth, my last deck is the Thoth. It's my first Thoth deck, also in Spanish, because it was the cheapest edition, and I'm bilingual anyway, so you know, not a problem there in terms of no language barrier. But I wouldn't say my tastes have really changed. I don't know, I kind of, from the beginning, I was actually quite, the reason I was drawn to the Waitsmith was because I liked those kind of old illustrations. And so really from the beginning, I haven't been one for modern decks, contemporary decks. I have a few, but I'm actually quite drawn to historical decks. I do actually have, before I got the Thoth, I also got my first, I guess, proper Marseille. It's the Fournier one, which is based on the Conver, but it's been sort of color-coded. So all the suits are kind of, yeah, you can very easily identifiable by their color scheme. So yeah, I do really appreciate Marseille decks, historical, Italian, especially historical, in terms of Italian decks particularly. I have quite a few of those. So right from the beginning, I was really, really interested in these kind of old world, antique, classic decks that kind of predate the esoteric reworking of the tarot. But I don't know, it's just something about the imagery that really just is everything I kind of expect tarot to be. Like, it's just mystical and magical, mysterious. I don't ever want it to lose that mystique of, you know, trying to peer behind the curtain, not quite getting to see everything, but just getting a glimpse. And I think historical decks are really good at getting that kind of, evoking that feeling in me. I'm really enjoying working with the Marseille now, actually. But yeah, I wouldn't say my tastes have changed. I think I've had quite a strong sense of what I like since the very beginning. But you know, if we do compare the Thoth to the Waitsmith, then yeah, I guess there is quite a stark difference, at least in terms of imagery and symbolism. Really, it's still essentially the same system. It's just a lot denser in the Thoth. And I am enjoying my studies with the Thoth, so yeah, I don't really have any good examples right now, but with me, but you know, stuff like the classic tarot, which is the Lo Scarabeo reprinting of the Giovanni Vacetta deck. I like all the artisanal sort of Il Meneghello tarot decks. I don't know, just Italian decks particularly, some Marseille decks. I just like old decks. I mean, that's my tarot aesthetic as well, I guess. And then the third prompt is, I'm just going to flip through the decks I have here because I don't really have my full collection with me, so. So the third prompt is, why tarot? Whew, that's a loaded question. Why tarot? I mean, I guess why not? Why tarot? I guess it was just a natural extension or just a way for me to explore and reconnect with my spirituality, something that I have struggled with throughout most of my life because I was raised Catholic, and really right from the get-go I never identified with that religion or its traditions, and I was always kind of feeling like there was always this soul urge in me. There was this drive to understand more, but the Catholic Church, the Catholic teachings weren't really providing that for me. I was an atheist for a really long time, and that was partly due to me kind of trying to separate myself from my upbringing, not really finding any kind of meaning in what I'd been taught. I just kind of wanted to separate myself from that entirely, which I know is the case for a lot of people in this community. But this was throughout my childhood as well. This was from a very, very, very early age. And I often felt frustrated with this not knowing, this atheism. I didn't quite identify with atheism either. I felt still at my core I was quite spiritual. And I was exposed to kind of witchy spirituality from a really young age, just kind of from the shows I watched, like Buffy or Charmed. My sister was kind of into that whole Wiccan vibe that was really really had its heyday in the 90s. So I was exposed to that and I was drawn to it, but of course I couldn't find a way to make sense of it with my atheism. I just couldn't. I thought, from a really young age, from my teenage years, I was drawn to the craft and I was drawn to spirituality, sort of pagan, alternative spirituality, I guess, just witchiness. I'd been exposed to tarot as a child, and I was drawn to the imagery. I was just really drawn to it, but I couldn't, for the longest time, I was just so stubborn about my belief system. I couldn't find a middle ground between the sort of part of me that wanted to completely distance myself and detach myself from Catholicism and, the atheism. I really struggled with that divide. I thought it was a very sort of black and white thinking, which is what you're usually exposed to in at least Abrahamic religions, Christianity in particular. I just couldn't wrap my head around the idea of being spiritual and not being religious, or but I was aware of the existence of witchcraft without it necessarily being religious. In fact, it being kind of the antithesis to religion. Still, I wasn't really pulled to any neo-pagan religions. But I think that my interest in tarot just kind of naturally developed out of that. It was a way for me to, when I finally kind of made peace with myself, my inner struggle, my shadow concerning religion and spirituality, I finally understood the separation I was trying to make, and that I didn't need to necessarily make that separation, that I could have both. I could be spiritual and not religious, and I could also be I could also sort of believe in God in a sense, however you want to call God, source, or or gods, but still not really subscribe to any major religious structure. And as soon as I made peace with that, that was around the time I found tarot, and I think that was quite again, it was kismet, really, because tarot was what kind of bridged that divide for me. Made me realize that there was something more, but that I didn't need to subscribe to any really any dogma to follow it, to tune in to my longing for the craft, or my longing for understanding the why, the big why, why are we here, why am I here. That's just really been a lifelong question for me, like even from a very, very, very young age. And that was something that religion just couldn't provide. And then tarot came along, and it didn't, it still hasn't answered the why aspect, but it's a tool that's helping me get there, and it's bridged that kind of those two sides of me. It's really helped me understand myself, understand my tendencies, my thought processes, just really get to know myself on a level that I wasn't even aware existed. And I was longing for that understanding, and I didn't even know it. I didn't know how to achieve it. So tarot was kind of is the bridge for me. And I really don't think I've even scraped the surface of it. I've been at it for, I've been reading tarot for 3-4 years now. So I'm still quite new to it, relatively new to it. But yeah, it's a key, isn't it? Really, it's been the key to my understanding of myself, of my own philosophy, of my own life, of my own mind, my own soul. It's really pacified that kind of side of me that was just really, that discontent that I had, where I just couldn't understand. I knew there was something more, but I couldn't quite reach it. I couldn't quite grasp it. And tarot has provided that for me, and so many more things. So why tarot is like asking, I don't know, why breathe for me at this point. And tarot has really come to encapsulate so many core philosophies of my life as it stands right now. So yeah. So pet peeves. I mean, is it redundant for me to say cardstock? I guess I'm not a cardstock snob. In fact, I don't really know how to differentiate between different types of cards. I mean, I obviously I can feel it, but I have no idea about cardstock. There is one deck where the cardstock is so bad that it's really put me off using it, and I really want to use it. I actually like it, and I kind of can't. I'm just afraid that it's gonna snap. I mean, it's not like fragile or anything. It just has a really, really shitty, papery. It's literally paper, and I feel that tactile experience is so crucial, and so it's like the primary way that we experience tarot is through our hands, and obviously through our eyes as well, but the imagery shouldn't overshadow the tactile experience. I mean, this cardstock is kind of not great either. It's, if I bend it, it kind of, see, it doesn't bend back. It's not, again, I know nothing about cardstock, so I really can't analyze it in depth. I can't say why that is. I can't describe it. I just know that I really don't care what kind of cardstock it is, as long as it's like, as long as I can riffle shuffle it, as long as I can bridge shuffle it, that's all that matters to me, really. Otherwise, I just don't really care. I don't care for the actual details of it. I just need to have an easy time holding it in my hand. I just need to be able to hold it in my hand and be able to shuffle it. Even if I can only really shuffle it overhand, that's fine. But yeah, that tactile experience is extremely important to me, and I think I speak for mostly everyone when I say that. And then the other pet peeve I have that I can think of off the top of my mind, I guess, I don't know if this is really in the spirit of what this prompt was about originally, but so this is more about packaging as well. So cardstock, packaging. I hate those boxes, those big plastic boxes where the deck comes like this. Oh, I can't. I really do like, I like tuck boxes. I mean, they're fragile, some are less durable than others, but I really don't mind the tuck boxes, like the low Scarabeo ones. I think they just do their job, and if I'm gonna move the deck into a bag anyway, what does it matter what the box looks like? I know that indie decks do kind of put a lot of thought and consideration into the packaging, so this is a good example. This is an example of an indie deck that went mass market and they did it right. So I either want a tuck box or one of these kind of like shell, I guess. I'm not sure what the term is. These kind of clamshell, I don't know, boxes. Small guidebook, that's fine with me. If I want a bigger guidebook, I want to have the option to get it separately. I don't want to have to, like sort of with the Tantric Dakini, came in a huge plastic box because of course the book itself is very, very large, so it came in one of those formats, and I just can't stand it, because then the cards get bent out of shape before you've even used them, and there's just it's really not necessary. There's just no need for so much like packaging and plastic there. I mean, we really need to think about our footprint as well as consumers, and I think we really do need to push these publishing houses to kind of stop printing. To stop not printing, to stop formatting these box sets like that. I feel like they could be smaller, the guidebooks could be more compact, even if they're still quite big, larger boxes, larger than, say, this, for example. That's fine, it's just as long as they don't do the whole, that thing in the plastic tray with the, I can't even, that's how the Tantric Dakini came. So yeah, that's kind of off the top of my head. Those are my major, I think the most sort of glaring pet peeves I have, and they're just packaging and tactile issues, really. What was the next one? The next prompt is, what is your favorite tarot spread? So I don't really have a spread. I guess I'm not really partial to the Celtic Cross or any other sort of classic. I like the sort of like the 9 card spread, the tableau. Wait. I like that because I can actually kind of read it in a sort of move this out of the way. I can read it almost like a Lenormand style. You know, I can read it directionally. So I can read it like horizontally. Let me just, I don't have much space here, but let's just say 9 card spread, a 9 card tableau. I think it's good for general readings, or even just specific questions as well. Because I can sort of read it like diagonally, horizontally, so I can read the rows, I can read by columns, then I can read diagonally, I can read sort of mirror images. I can also do the thing that they do in Lenormand, which is knighting, so this card here knights this one knights this one, or this one, and I think that's one thing I can take away from Lenormand, which I don't really read Lenormand or study it yet, but that's one thing I've taken away from. I'll link some videos on that kind of box spread that I first picked up from Tom Benjamin, actually, and as soon as I kind of knew about it, I thought it was genius, really. But I don't really have a spread, like a definitive spread. I just like to kind of lay out cards as, I don't know, just randomly, and see how they fit. I just love to lay out cards like this. I mean, I'm overdoing it just to make a point, but I just like to see how they connect. I mean, I'm just showing off the deck at this point, aren't I? But yeah, I don't know. No spreads really. I'm more intuitive, I guess. I just kind of go with whatever. I just go with the flow, whatever my mind dictates. If I feel like doing, or even like that kind of diamond spread that I saw Sylvain do, I think that one's great. I've been trying that one a lot lately, and it's fantastic. But because, you know, sometimes people don't really know how to ask questions. Sometimes it's good to have a spread with set positions and meanings. But what I'll do is I'll just Google something really quickly. I'll look something up. I don't have a spread in mind, really, from the get-go. Just whatever feels right at the time, at the moment. And I love seeing cards just spread out kind of intuitively and seeing how they connect and then being able to move them around. Yeah. So, next prompt. Your preferred tarot system. I don't have any preferences. I like to study all systems, even self-contained systems, like some even contemporary decks like the Marielle, what's the other one that is just completely different and goes its own way? I don't know if I remember it all. But I like to study as many systems as I can. I just like to study tarot. The study of tarot as a divination system to me is just fascinating. There's endless possibilities, and what I get from that is being able to kind of layer on meaning, correspondences, other associations. I like being able to do that. I like being able to have a toolkit, as it's been described so many times here on TarotTube, of meanings, of ways to interpret the cards. I just don't like being confined to one set way of reading. I don't know. I like all systems, and I also like none of them. I just like being able to pile on meanings and layers. So I'm gonna pick up, now that I have a Thoth and a Marseille, I'm gonna probably pick up a continental deck and study that as well. One of the Atea decks. So yeah, in terms of tarot system, nothing really, everything. I like it all. I need it all. Then what's the next one? Oh, tarot rituals. When I'm reading for other people, I do at least like to, I like to light a candle or something at least. I don't light incense unless the person I'm reading for asks for it specifically. Really, my rituals are very pared down. When I was starting out, I was very ritualistic. I was very meticulous with, there were steps that I had to follow to kind of prepare myself for the reading. I just don't do that anymore. At least reading for myself, because I journal a lot, and tarot is a great journaling tool for me. I just bring out the cards wherever I am on the go. I like to read wherever, like on my bed, at my desk, on the floor. So I really don't have, I'm not a person of rituals, and not that there's anything wrong with that, with having rituals. I just feel like at the beginning of my practice I was, a novice, and I thought I really had to do all of that to connect. And now really it's more of getting into a meditative state and just channeling, and I can do that anywhere, really. I like to do that anywhere. I like to do that on the go. I have a lot of Sagittarius in my natal chart, so I don't like rigidity. If I feel like, if for example I'm doing kind of like magic with tarot, then yeah, of course I'll have some rituals planned out. But just reading tarot as a divination system, no, I don't really have anything that I really go to. All I do is be a little bit more formal about how I go about it when I'm reading for other people. But when I'm reading for myself, I just lay out cards like willy-nilly. So yeah. As the next one, how do you use tarot? How do I use tarot? Well, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I use it as an introspective tool. I do use it for divination as well sometimes, but for me it's more reflective, which I think is the case for a lot of people on TarotTube. It's a journaling tool as well, and I like to provide that introspective quality in my readings for other people as well. I like people to reflect. I'm not above giving like direct concrete, specific answers, but I also like people to take something away from the experience and have something to reflect on. And that's how I read for myself as well. So it is a very reflective tool for me, psychological one as well. Let me bring out the Night Goddess. Again, I don't have many decks with me because I'm on vacation. So, yeah, it's a great journaling tool. That's kind of, actually, I forgot to mention that in my tarot rituals. I think one tarot ritual that I can say I do have is journaling. I'm almost quite ritualistic about how I do that. So I do journal a lot with my tarot in my tarot practice, and I can say that for sure has a ritual quality to it. So what else? My significator card. My significator card. I don't really have one. I just pull it. I pull whatever, so I'll first ask what my significator is at the moment, and I'll use whatever comes up as, like, I think. So I'll just use that as a significator. I don't know, if I really had to pick an archetype, I guess I'd actually go for the Tower. And I think I don't really need to expand on that too much. Yeah, my mental health brings about a lot of Tower moments. So I feel like I'm constantly living in the ruins, in the rubble of my life. Yeah, extremes. I'll go into that. I mean, I really want to make a series on mental health and tarot, where I want to open up about that. I feel like I should, and it's important. But yeah, if I had to pick a significator, I guess I'd pick the Tower. I really don't have one that I really overly identify with. No specific court cards or anything. Okay, I can't find the Tower, but anyway, I'll just move on to the next prompt. Unicorn deck. I do actually have that one with me. What is my unicorn deck? It's the Flowers Tarot, which isn't actually a tarot. It's one of those decks that calls itself a tarot and isn't a tarot. It's still a sort of divinatory system based on florography, I guess, Victorian floral language. This was, for the longest time, this was a unicorn deck for me. I never thought I'd get it. It's very, very hard to find. It's out of print, of course. It's a Grimoire deck from the 80s. So yeah, this is my unicorn deck. I just kind of put it on the back burner because I didn't think I'd ever get it. And I wanted it really for the flowers, not really for any of the keywords, but it's a strange one. I don't think it likes me. So I don't know if I can say that is my unicorn deck. I mean, I bring it out sparingly, precisely just because of the system. It's very, very direct, and it feels like it has to be read in a very specific way. So, you know, with spreads, kind of like a Lenormand, almost. It's kind of that kind of fortune telling system. I guess so that's the unicorn deck that I have in my collection. And then what my current unicorn deck is, as in like what I'm kind of looking at to add to my collection one day, but probably won't be able to, is I think it's probably the Vertigo Tarot. It was like a limited edition Sandman series collaboration with Neil Gaiman. It's, you can find it, it's just very expensive. And then the next prompt, what's the most important lesson that tarot has taught you? This is another one that I don't know if I can answer because there's really so much I could say. I guess right now, if I have to answer from the top of my head, I'd say it's taught me to trust myself. That was just something I just didn't, a quality I just didn't have before I started reading tarot, to trust my intuition, my inner knowing, to always strive to be better each day. That has been a lesson I've learned with tarot as well. And you know, for my own well-being, so better for myself, not for anyone else, not to be better than anyone else, just to be better. I don't know, I still feel like I'm learning really important lessons with tarot every day, and there's so much I still have to learn, and actually that's the point of this channel, to learn with tarot, to learn about myself with tarot, and to encourage that in others, encourage those kind of moments of right on cue, introspection, those lessons. We all have different lessons that we need to learn in our lifetime, that tarot can teach us. For example, tarot, any other tool really, whatever tool of choice you use, but in this case tarot, I don't know, that just so much. Can I just leave it at that? Because otherwise I'll just be, there'd really be no reason for this channel to exist. Yeah. And the last prompt is, so a tarot dinner party, what guest? Who would I invite? I kind of want to steal Meg's answer and say all of you, but no, I guess, can I make it 2 guests of honor? Would that even make sense? I don't know, because I can't really pick one over the other, but Pixie, obviously, Pamela Coleman-Smith, and Lady Frida Harris. And then my 3rd guest would be whoever the hell came up with, invented, drew, or just the people behind the Solar Busca Tarot. I just need to pick their brains, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that kind of that would be a wild dinner party. Of course, Pamela Coleman-Smith seems to have been inspired in part by that particular deck, the Solar Busca. So I really do want to know what was the intention behind it, what it means. I feel like that would be a very mystical, magical, alchemical dinner party. Lots of talking, not much eating really. But yeah, so that was my very awkward attempt at this tag, this wonderful tag that Simon came up with. It's such a great way to introduce yourself as a reader, or introduce your journey so far. So I really encourage anyone who kind of wants to make the leap and jump into TarotTube, start posting videos. I think this is a great tag to start off with, because it really just does summarize. It's like a snapshot in time. It summarizes your journey with tarot as it is so far. And I really think we should do tags like these more often. Like, we have sort of regular check-ins with ourselves each year or each couple of years, just to see how we're kind of progressing with tarot. Yeah, that's again, like I said, that's why I made this channel, to kind of document my own journey and encourage others to do the same. Bring more people into the fold and teach in lessons. So to teach people, even people who don't read tarot, teach through tarot. So tarot is such a beautiful tool for me. It's really, I don't know. I don't have words to describe it. I think the images. So I'll leave you with that. This video was of any value to you. If you liked it, enjoyed it, please consider hitting the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. All that stuff just helps me and it helps my channel grow. Again, check out Simon's video. There's also, I'll link some of the other videos that I saw with this tag, just so if you want to participate, that you can kind of get some ideas. I didn't really want to be influenced too much by other people's answers, so I tried not to watch too many videos before I did this. But yeah, thank you, Simon, and thanks everyone. See you in the next video.